everyone, thanks for joining me. My name is Denyse Drummond-Dunn and I'm President and Chief Catalyst at C3 Centricity, which is a global consultancy specialising in customer centricity. I want to start this morning by asking you all a question. How many of you have cheated your customers, consumers or clients? You're lucky that we are not live, because I'm sure that at least half of you would have put your hands up if I'd asked that. Now, I'm going to share ideas on how you can cheat I'm not going to share ideas on how to cheat your customers. What I want to share with you are examples that are actually the opposite. I will show you some examples of companies that cheat, but I want to talk about customer centricity. As you know, the most important attribute a company or brand needs to develop in its customers is trust. And purchasers, unfortunately, just don't trust us anymore. 3 of the 4 main reasons why buyers don't buy is because of a lack of trust. They don't trust online reviews, they don't trust online advice, and they certainly don't trust salespeople anymore. So if building trust is so important, what exactly is it? I think we need to understand that. It's not enough to simply be honest, according to at least this research from Salesforce. On the right, we see such things as security, reliability, and privacy, clearly dominated by online experiences. On the left are more general associations of trust, such as authenticity, confidence, ethics, and transparency. In other words, customers want to trust companies and brands that are who they say they are. But trust has become increasingly difficult to earn. In fact, 54% of customers say it's harder than ever for companies to earn their trust. In today's socially connected world, it surprises me that so many organizations continue to believe that they can just get away with it, whatever it is. So I believe it's time to call them out with some examples of the more bad behaviors, the most common ones that I've found. And then I'm going to speak about what other companies are doing to be honest and build long-term trust for their brands. Let me start with packaging. In the personal care area, cheating can be quite subtle. This example from L'Oreal, the front label says new, and underneath the word, it says rich in care, whatever that means. However, turn the bottle over and we see the word new refers to the new pack design, not to the product. The positioning of the 2 lines clearly suggests that L'Oreal was intending people to misunderstand their claim. They really should know better, shouldn't they? How would you feel when you got home and found you'd bought exactly the same product as your current one? Disappointed? Angry? Well, you certainly would be if this bottle was also more expensive, which is often the case for anything new. In the food industry, cheating seems to have become the norm, I'm sad to say. As with the previous example, a quick read on shelf of this cereal box, and you would believe that the contents are high in protein. You look again, the protein claim is for a serving and is primarily coming from the milk that you add. I was once told by a health professional to never believe what's printed on the front of a food packaging. And ever since, unfortunately, I found him to be right on so many occasions. So I pass on his advice to you. This second example comes from General Mills and is wrong for so many reasons. Firstly, they made the pack bigger, which means more cardboard, when most manufacturers are trying to decrease it. But in addition, the contents are actually 2% smaller. Perhaps they wanted more shelf impact, but they decided to take a hidden price increase at the same time by reducing the size of the contents. That is so wrong. The final packaging examples come from the beauty industry, where misleading packaging also seems to be the norm. From tiny bottles packed in large plastic holders and even larger boxes, as can be seen in this example, to huge boxes containing tiny pots of cream and large plastic holders and spray tops to maximize the impact of the few drops of product it actually contains. Think what a saving in materials and shelf space we could make if beauty products and others were sold more honestly. Okay, let's move on to dishonest products. How would you feel if you ordered the dress on the left and received the one on the right? Now, the young lady who was expecting an unforgettable occasion when wearing it clearly saw the funny side as she posted the two pictures on Facebook. Unfortunately, this is just one of millions of examples that people have had and posted when ordering products from Asia, mainly China, to be honest. The product was certainly cheap, but it didn't deliver on its promise. I can only assume that the manufacturer relies on making money from the first purchases, as no one would repurchase from them afterwards. They have lost all trust, and the hassle of trying to return the product to China for a refund is made so difficult that many just give up and put the experience behind them. Therefore, they have little to lose from doing this, the company that is, at least in the short term. But I've seen several Chinese warehouses have changed names, so it looks as if people are getting wise to their game. 3 products now from the confectionery business. The first one does say it's solid chocolate, and that's true. It's just that you only get half a cup and not the whole one that I bet purchasers were expecting to get when they bought it. This example makes me wonder how any marketer could accept to do such a thing to their customers. Apart from the excessive cardboard used, it's clear that the intention was to cheat the customer. The purchaser thought that he or she was getting far more product than the actual contents of the pack due to this insert. And the last confectionery example must have been a manufacturing nightmare to position those cranberries precisely so that they're seen through the transparent section of the packaging. Oh, wait a minute. I just saw that it says it's handmade. So those 6 cranberries were carefully placed on the tablet by hand. Maybe that's how they could use the claim of handmade after manufacturing the chocolate tablet by machine. Okay, now as many, if not all of you are working in the retail business, let's move on to that area. A lot of supermarket chains now offer own brand products, such as this pizza that comes from Morrison's supermarket chain in the UK. Now, to be fair, I think most pizza packs suffer from the same dishonesty in the portrayal of what's inside. In fact, I think the issue is pretty rampant in the food industry in general. From enticing images on front of pack to the disappointing contents inside, we're regularly shocked by just how far from reality the product photos are. And I'm sure you've all compared a McDonald's or other burger in their advertising to the flattened, soggy mess you receive in their fast food outlets. This Colgate promotion doesn't actually say that the 3 packs are the same size. It says it's a value 3 pack, but purchasers should be forgiven for understanding it in this way, and no doubt that was the intention. I find it sad that even large multinationals are stooping to such low levels to get more money out of their most loyal customers. After all, you wouldn't be buying this multi-pack to try the brand for the first time, would you? Speaking of promotions, let's look at shelf labels, because that's how retail announce them quite often. I find this one almost laughable because it's so clear. I took this photo in a 99p store in the UK where everything is like 99 pence. So why bother to pretend that this is a discount from the regular price of 99p? I don't think that that is what most people would think of as being a price crunch, as they call it. Do you? This one I photographed in an athletic shoe store, and it also is cheating the buyer. The now price suggests that it was more expensive before. Well, in this case, it's true. It was indeed priced higher, but by exactly 1 cent. Not sure again if that qualifies for a now shout out on the shelf label, unless you're trying to make buyers believe that they're getting a good deal, and certainly a better deal than in fact the reality is. I know that we see promotions and deals through these shelf labels, but this example from a pharmacy in the US is just plain crazy. Talk about shouting at customers. Is it cheating? Well, if making your customer's life easier when wanting to buy, then this certainly does. I think it qualifies as cheating the customer because they've made it almost impossible to find and choose the product they want to buy. Okay, let's finish with a few examples from online. We've all seen ads offering something for free and then charging only for shipping and handling, which is then usually far more than the item is worth. I've noted that this is particularly the case for books and so-called free lead magnets from self-confirmed guru coaches online. Another way of cheating the customer is to ask for credit card details at the time of a free trial. No doubt, this is in the hope that people will forget to cancel before their trial runs out and then get locked into a purchase they probably hadn't intended to make. I'm happy to see that a few companies are now starting to offer free trials without requesting credit card details, or they send at least an email before the end of the trial to remind their potential customers that they will be charged if the service is not cancelled before a certain date. Well done to those customer-centric companies that do this, such as Amazon, because they're really being honest and transparent with their customers. And I think that's why so many people like buying from Amazon. Another habit that is quite prevalent, even on Google, is the blurring between search results or news topics and advertising. The example shown on the right comes from an email I received a while back from StumbleUpon that has since changed its name to Mix. Their attempt to hide advertising amongst their list of suggested new topics irritated me so much that I cancelled my subscription. I wonder if others did too, as the company changed names, as I said. At least Google does add lines, albeit very light grey, thin ones, between the ads in their search results. But I've noticed that their sponsored ads at the top of the page have become more and more difficult to distinguish. One last example of cheating is the use of bright colours to entice surfers to click a button, when it's not the option that they would have naturally chosen if they'd bothered to read the choices. In this example from Swiss Airlines, and also, and also used by their parent company Lufthansa, readers are drawn to click on the red button to approve all cookies. However, to accept only the required ones, you would need to click not on a button, but the word in light grey to the left of the button. Okay, so you remember I showed you earlier that building trust means being authentic, ethical, and transparent, so customers can buy from us with confidence. As we've seen, dishonesty comes in many shapes and sizes. But what about those companies who are trying to do the right thing? How did they avoid such bad behavior? Well, it's easy. Just be more customer-centric. and ask one simple question. I call it my magic question, and it's this. What would our customers think about the decision we've just taken? If they wouldn't like it, perhaps you should reconsider. I encourage my clients to ask this at the end of every meeting. Perhaps you should too. I'd now like to share some examples of companies who clearly asked this question and then did the right thing. These first two examples are surprisingly from advertising, not always known for complete honesty, but they are good examples of authenticity. One company who's benefited from telling the truth for decades, and there aren't that many, are there? It's Avis. Their We Try Harder campaign, launched in 1962, took Avis from 18% to a 34% market share. Almost 60 years on, it's still their slogan, and that in itself is amazing. Another example of a company who tells it like it is the Swiss financial institution HypoSwiss. In their Honest campaign, they take a refreshing view of money, yours in particular. They say, we like our clients because of their money, they like us because of our honesty. And their sign-off is just as refreshing. Expect the unexpected. Sorry, expect the expected, not the unexpected. They've clearly understood that their customers want honesty and no surprises when it comes to investing their money. A couple of good examples from the food industry. The Pringles pack on the left recognizes that the air added in tubs to keep the crisp from breaking also swells the top. They've added the slogan bursting with flavor to add a positive and fun note to something that would be perceived negatively, since a swollen pack normally suggests the content's gone off. The message on the inside of the Yucatan guacamole tub explains that people may find pieces of the avocado stems, seeds, or skin in the product, but that this just proves it's handmade and all natural. Who would complain after reading that? And it also confirms again the authenticity of the product. Both these examples show transparency, but use humor to get acceptance too. In retail, being honest means helping buyers make their purchases, as I mentioned earlier. Allowing shoppers to identify themselves as in need of help or not means that they get help when they need it and are left to browse when they don't. This is a great example of the customer in control, something more and more of them are demanding these days. These two examples from beverages help buyers by highlighting the sections containing the brands. What I like about these is that they can be seen from a distance, which can't be said for shelf labels. It also saves the buyer having to hunt for the brand in the aisle. And it certainly also attracts other visitors to check out the section, which is an added bonus. I just love it when companies clearly have put themselves in the shoes of their customers and found small but impactful ways for people to fall in love with their brands and the solutions that they offer. This one is to help customers build their flat pack furniture that they've bought. And I'm sure many of us would pay extra for this added convenience. And yet it probably doesn't cost the hardware company a lot more to make, but it does provide much greater value to the purchaser. Another example of this is, and again, not expensive to add, is this showing where the sides and the top and bottom of a fitted sheet is. And I'm sure that every bed maker would love that. As I said, putting yourself in your customer's shoes will highlight many ways that you can make their lives easier. This example is in reality a tiny change, but one that would tip the balance when buying fitted sheets. This is the key to customer centricity, thinking about your customer's experience and trying to make your solution more valuable to them. Building trust means being honest, reliable, as well as providing a safe environment where the buyer's details are protected. We build trust by being who we say we are, warts and all. We demonstrate that with our authentic, transparent, and ethical behaviors so that people can buy from us with confidence. So to conclude, cheating the customer isn't the answer to declining sales, whether in retail or manufacturing. If it works at all, it will work in the very short time for a first purchase, as the Chinese example showed. And it will result in even faster declines after the initial boost, since few, if any, will repurchase. Trust has become the essential attribute for brands, companies, and retail alike. And when either or all three of them disappoint their customers, the reactions, usually online, are fast and furious. The solution is simple. We need to act more like customers. If you wouldn't do it to your spouse, parents, or children, why would you do it to your customers? Ask the magic question every time you take a decision, as it will guide you to better decision-making and happier customers. Keeping your customers happy comes from you understanding them as deeply as possible. And don't forget that they're changing faster than ever before. So it's important that we keep our fingers on the market's pulse and regularly check in with them. In one word, or in this case two, the way to avoid cheating the customer is to be customer-centric. I hope I've given you a few laughs this morning, as well as a few things to think about. As this has been an online presentation, I leave you with my email address in case you have any comments or questions, and I would love to hear from you, whether it's other ideas and examples that you've come across or new ways of treating our customers with the respect they deserve. Thank you for listening.